Good morning. It's Friday, February 4th, and there's an awful lot going on in the world around us. I'll just look at some local things. Yesterday, the President of the United States visited with the mayor and the governor and the Attorney General of New York to talk about the gun crisis and the violence that is going on around New York. Now, New York is not the only place where there's gun violence. There's gun violence all over this country. But anyhow, we came to talk to our leading officials to see if there's something that we can do about gun violence. And I don't know what we can do about gun violence. I mean, we have plenty of laws against it, and we had a stop and search policy that was viewed as being discriminatory, and so it was stopped, and maybe we have to renew that situation. And then in addition to the gun violence, there's crazy things happening, like subway cars that are getting set on fire. We had an incident a year or so ago where somebody brought a shopping cart full of junk and set it on fire in a subway car. And that happened recently too, a subway car fire. And then, of course, we have this opioid crisis that exists in this country. And that's what I really want to talk about a little bit today, because it's a big issue. So recently there was a decision that came down, and J&J and 3 drug distributors are going to pay around $550 million to the indigenous people that were affected by the opioid crisis. And I did not realize how many different tribes of indigenous people there are in the Federal Registry in the United States. There are 574 different indigenous tribes in this country. Now, some of them are a couple of hundred people, and some of them are thousands of people. But there's 574 different tribes that are going to share in this $550 million settlement. The indigenous tribes are getting this money because, according to the suit that was brought, these Native American tribes and villages experienced a disproportionately high rate of opioid overdoses. Now, we can claim that they had a disproportionate rate, and there's no question that they probably did. But in my mind, there is something that says we ourselves are personally responsible for our actions. Now, there is no question in my mind that the drug companies precipitated a huge portion of the events that took place within the indigenous people community with their false advertising and I'll go so far as to say their lies that they put out about the effects of these drugs and everything. And so they deserve to be punished, and they deserve to have to pay this huge amount of money. But people are responsible for their own actions too, and now's an opportunity for these the tribes to take hold of that responsibility and to teach, and to spend a lot of time in their communities making sure that the falsehoods that are put out by people that are trying to sell something that's not good for you are to be avoided. So this thing is another one of those episodes in the United States that should never have happened. And remember, the indigenous tribes are not the only one that suffered through the opioid crisis. This country was racked with I don't know how many people getting very sick and dying from the opioid crisis. But in any event, the drug companies are paying a huge amount of money, and deservedly so, because they're probably ripping us off in other ways anyhow to get this money. So if they're paying it, we're paying it. We, the people of the United States, are going to pay this money out to the indigenous tribes, because the drug companies are certainly going to raise their prices to cover the costs of this decision. Even the lawyer for the tribes admitted that they weren't solving the opioid crisis with this settlement, but it's giving them critical resources to the tribal communities to address the crisis. But who's going to manage that? Don't you think that he could state something about who's going to manage it? Or is that management going to be in the hands of people who don't really know how to do what they should be doing? I don't know. Seems to me if you're giving out that money, you ought to make sure that the people who get that money know what to do with it, know how to execute a plan, and recognize that this is an educational problem as much as a physical problem, and that they should be setting up counseling centers and rehab centers so that people have a ready place to go and get advice and get help when they need it, and not be left to their own devices to solve this problem, because addiction is not something that you can easily overcome by yourself. You need a lot of help. You know, AAA has been doing this for years, so maybe they need to get some advice from AAA and other organizations that have been counseling people with medical problems like this, mental and medical problems. Addiction is a terrible thing. You know, you start out with a little bit of marijuana and you end up with cocaine and heroin and worse, you know. So addiction is terrible. Lifelong problems evolve from addiction. So it's good that the Indian population, I shouldn't call them Indian, the indigenous population, got these funds to start on a rehab program. So in the end, I guess I believe that they should have the money, but the money has to be spent wisely. And somebody has to oversee that they're spending it wisely, and I bet you that's not part of the agreement. You know, that's a lot of money that has to be spent properly. In any event, that's one of the big things that was happening today, and there's a lot of other little things going on. So I'll leave you with that this morning, and recognize the fact that this country's not in the greatest shape, but I keep saying that, so I'm tired of saying that. I just hope you have a good day today, and I'll see you in the morning.